My name is Johnella Bradshaw, and I am the Redonda Ecosystem Reserve Coordinator. Yes, very long, at the Environmental Awareness Group in Antigua and Barbuda. So the EAG is Antigua and Barbuda's most long-standing environmental NGO, and we've been around for 30 years doing conservation on our island. So Redonda is known for its globally significant amount of nesting seabirds that they have there, and also its endemic species. And endemic species, you cannot find them anywhere else but on the island. So Redonda has these wonderful birds. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them, but we have pictures for you. They're called boobies. They are seabirds, and we have three different species of boobies. We have the red-footed booby, we have a brown booby, and we have a mass booby, and they're all so beautiful. But it doesn't only stop there. We also have magnificent frigate birds, which are so beautiful during their mating seasons. You would see the males with their red pouch all inflated, trying to, lure the females in. And wonderful mating displays as well. We have red-billed tropic birds, which are so beautiful with their long tails. And we have other land birds you can find there, such as peregrine falcons, we have pearly-eye thrasher, we have yellow warblers, we're seeing some hummingbirds coming back. So you can definitely find a variety of, birds on Redonda. Switching it over now to our reptiles, we have three endemic reptile species that are on Redonda. The first one is the Redonda ground lizard, and this one is a beautiful ground lizard. It's totally black. Yes, you heard me, totally black. It loves to bask in the sunlight. You also have the Redonda tree lizards. I like to call them kind of like spies because you can never see them, but they're always watching you. So you always have to look between a little gap or a hole or between the boulders to see these lizards. And what I love about them, they're so shy, but still so beautiful and charismatic. And you also have the Redonda pygmy gecko, which is fairly new, so it doesn't even have a scientific name yet. So Redonda is not inhabited by people. It's an unpeopled island, so only the wildlife is there. But in the past, during like between 1985 and 1914, Redonda had so many seabirds on there that somebody decided, hey, let's put a mine on Redonda. And yes, you heard me, a mine. And what could they possibly be mining? Well, seabird poop or seabird guano. Yes, there were so many birds on Redonda that a person said, hey, let me try to make some money. Let me mine this seabird guano. And what they did with the guano, they used it to make fertilizers and gunpowder. So during this time, they had to bring over the workers. So there were probably approximately 100 to 120 miners working on Redonda. And at that time, Redonda didn't really have, all that you would need to sustain a population. So they brought over everything. So they brought over livestock, which is their goats. They brought over everything that they would need to live there. When they were bringing all that they needed, they brought the goats, which didn't belong there, but they also brought black rats. And these two invasive species together, they are a recipe to destruction. And that's exactly what they did to Redonda. They destroyed the entire ecosystem. It used to be a lush, thriving haven. And now, well, during the time 2012, there was only one resident land bird, one tree. All the vegetation was destroyed. It was devoured. There was a lot of erosion since there weren't any plants, solidifying the soil. The cliffs were just crumbling into the surrounding seas. The island was dying, and the species they were at risk of extinction. In 2009, there was this conference in the Caribbean, and Redonda was actually selected as the highest priority island for restoration, seeing all that it has lost, the biodiversity that was quickly declining. We had to get a team who camped out on Redonda for 2 months to eradicate all the rats and all the goats. And what happened is that every day for those 2 months, they had to distribute bait, poison bait that we use claret. We had to do that. We had to distribute the bait every 40 meters for 2 months. And why 40 meters? Because everything that a rat needs is within 40 meters. Redonda has sheer cliffs. So what did we do to get the bait on the cliffs? Well, we had to hire mountaineers. Yes, you heard me. We had to hire mountaineers to come and scale the cliffs to distribute this bait, because we didn't want any part of Redonda to be left or risk the potential of there being any other invasive species. And what we did for the goats, we set up like a trap to try to gather the goats on the island. And then we airlifted them out. I should say the goats are extremely smart. They knew what we were doing, and I think the team was very unsuccessful for a couple weeks of catching the goat. And ever since that, you have to wait a year to officially declare that island or place invasive species free. So in 2018, Redonda was officially declared invasive species free. And ever since that, thankfully to our continuous conservation efforts, the island has retained that status, and we haven't had any mammalian invasive reoccurrences on Redonda. It literally looked like a desert. It didn't look like a place you or anybody would want to go. But what happened after that, we started to see green. We started to see vegetation coming back. And not only, when the vegetation started to come back, the birds, they start to return too. We start to see the numbers increasing, not only in the birds, but in the endemic reptile species. So the vegetation actually increased more than tenfold. Just imagine that, more than tenfold. And the populations for the ground lizard, they increased sixfold, and the tree lizard, they increased threefold. And we saw that due to the removing that high predation levels, that the nesting seabirds, they were coming back and they were nesting, they were feeling comfortable. It just goes to show you that nature can heal itself. And when you remove the things that are not supposed to be there, the whole ecosystem, we saw the ecosystem benefit on so many different levels. The invertebrates started to come back, the birds, the vegetation started to grow. So the birds came back. We've been seeing different species. So it's really a testament to the power of restoration and also to the power of collaboration, because it didn't take one group. It took many people coming together from their different backgrounds, bringing their ideas, bringing their suggestions to make this happen. I think my first spark happened when I was in college, and I did not want to take chemistry, and I decided I was going to take environmental science. I was already taking pure maths, biology, and I said, I'm not doing it with chemistry. So I said, hey, the next science subject was environmental science. Let me see what it was all about. And honestly, I was so sad, because when I took the class, I was like, oh, the one world that we are living in, we are destroying. What's going to happen to us? So once I heard that, I said, I know I can't change the world, but I definitely know I can play my part to, help to influence some change. And that's where it all started. Change has to start somewhere. And if that change could start with me, I would be very happy with that. And I want to show other young, children, other people like me that, hey, you can be an environmentalist.